Come in.
Hey,
How are you?
good afternoon. Omar Nasser with Citrix.
Good afternoon. Sit down, please.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
How you doing today?
Doing great. Now, Cal never mentioned, do you prefer to go by Bree or by Bry?
Bry.
Bry. Okay, just wanted to make sure. I wanted to tell you, Bry, congratulations. As the head of operations, I'm sure you had a large part to do with the fact that Aerotech was recently listed as the best of staffing agency.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm actually solely to do with that. It's all.
That's all of you?
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
I don't like to toot my own horn, but I appreciate it.
Hey, sometimes you have to. I mean,
Toot,
I,
toot.
toot, toot. I saw the Net Promoter Score was at 58%. It was like the top of the industry. So congratulations. That's not an easy thing to do at all.
No, absolutely, man. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic, man. Aerotech is an awesome business. As an organization, we work well as a team. So I appreciate the compliment. Thank you.
Of course, it's all a team effort at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Now, when I last met with Cal, he mentioned you had about 20 minutes for today's meeting. Is that still accurate for today?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, good. I'll make sure I'm respectful of your time.
Cool.
Now, prior to today's meeting, what exactly did Cal tell you coming in here?
Well, he mentioned that this is the kind of opportunity that would help our China project get it back on track, and that caught my interest, obviously. He was also really excited about seeing Windows 10 on a phone.
Sure.
That obviously is something that, that seems interesting. So, yeah, those are, and he just mentioned mainly that this is something that really is, that could be a solution to the China issue, mainly. Yeah.
So, the purpose of today's meeting, Brian is going to make sure that we're going to touch on how exactly Citrix Zen Desktop can help with the overall operations of Aerotech and how we're going to get that Beijing project back on track.
Awesome.
How does that sound?
That sounds great, man.
Now, what needs to happen for that Beijing project to go back on track from your perspective?
Well, the main issue tends to be the fact that, in China, apparently they don't give out work laptops. So we're looking for, everybody uses tablets over there.
Yeah.
So we're looking for something that can help with that aspect of, the fact that in America, obviously we have a work computer. We need to address that. So anything that can help our recruiters be more efficient at their job. I mean, this industry, the first to secure an employee a job usually gets it. Usually gets the business. So anything that can help in that regard.
The first is usually the one to win in most cases. So would you agree that the goal for today's meeting is to show exactly how Citrix Zen Desktop will help in all aspects of the operations and getting that Beijing project back on track? That's
Absolutely.
the goal for today.
No.
Great. Now, do you mind if I take some notes moving
Please
forward?
do.
Thank you. And just to make sure, after today's meeting, who's next in line that I should be talking to?
Well, if this sounds like something that we want to implement in the U.S., I can give Kyle the go-ahead.
Sure.
But if it's something that we're thinking about that could help China, I would have to involve Tom Kelly, the CEO of Allegis. Yes.
Sure thing. Well, I have here my business card.
All right.
And should you want to meet and talk to Tom Kelly as well, make sure you give him my business card as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Now, walk with me through some of your more responsibilities as the head of operations.
So I'm not directly involved in the China project, but I oversee 20 account managers, and everybody's really involved and knows what's going on over there. But my job is to make sure that everybody everybody's has the resources to do their job well, and that they're being guided in the right direction. So I'm more of an overseer for the account managers.
Sure thing. And when Aerotech and Allegis are choosing to make a new partnership with a company, what are one of the top two things they look for in that decision-making criteria?
How do you mean?
Well, what are one of the top two things they look for in companies? Is it trust? Is it reputation? Effectiveness?
Okay.
What stands out?
Well, we want to be sure. We're a large company, and we want to be sure that the corporations that we are dealing with can handle that workload. Firstly, that we're not too large for our providers, and obviously security. There's a reason we're using these old computers, and it's because I'd rather have ours be inconvenienced in order to be secure than just be open to that vulnerability, right? So security and size clearly are both matters that I think are considered pretty heavily.
Sure thing. And I'll make sure I touch on exactly how Citrix is capable of doing both of those aspects.
Okay.
Now, you first mentioned the mobility, and you mentioned that you weren't looking exactly to give everybody a laptop, but have more of your employees use smartphones.
Yeah, tablets, smartphones in general, right? The ability to use your personal device in order to do work is probably the most valuable asset of this that I'm looking to get out of this meeting. It's efficiency, right?
Efficiency.
The faster that you can respond to job opening or like placing people in a position, the more likely you are to get it in this industry.
Yeah.
So I feel like this could increase production by $10,000 on each of our reps. Multiply that by 20, and then scale it across the company. We're talking millions of dollars of added productivity.
That's crazy.
Through this opportunity. Yeah.
Sounds like there's a lot of opportunity to make that revenue moving forward.
Yeah, just be more efficient, right? Be able to respond to your client's needs without having to be on one individual device.
Of course, and that's something that Aerotech is known for. So we're going to make sure that we're not only going to increase that, but also make sure we're getting that revenue back and help those account managers meet their quotas and their goals moving forward.
I do have a concern with the personal devices though, because when corporations oversee computers, right? Like they can see what you do online, and they can and if you're at work, that's acceptable because you're at work. But I have, I'm afraid that if by putting it on your personal device, that concerns that we're watching their every move are going to come up. Like if we know, is Aerotech watching our emails, right? I don't want our employees not using this because they think that they're being spied on.
So,
is that the case?
Yeah, so just to clarify that concern of yours, you're more concerned that your workers are going to think this is more of a big brother kind of outlook, and you're concerned that you don't want them to think that you're watching every single one of their moves. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I don't want them doubting using this product for any reason, and I can see that being one of the big ones.
Sure thing. And that's a valid concern. Most of my customers have previously expressed that same concern, but what we found is that through Citrix, when we implement Zen Desktop, all the work is simply being done on the application itself. Once you log out of the application, it's almost like you were never in there.
Okay.
All the security and all the information goes back, and Citrix is only watching what happens when you're online in that application.
Okay, so it's really only watching the application.
It's really only the application. That is correct. Yes, sir.
That's a good answer. I appreciate that.
Yeah, not a problem at all. And now you also mentioned the mobility, correct? Mm-hmm. So what concerns you about the mobility right now?
Well, the fact that we can't take our work computers to China is a big deal. And the fact that we can't rely on the Chinese recruiters to have computers when they use tablets over there. Everything's a tablet. Everybody has tablets. So in China, if we don't, we are trying to transition our guys over here to that as well. But just the idea that, not relying on Chinese companies to provide computers and not having to upgrade to computers would also be nice. We are trying to transition to a tablet workforce. I feel like it'd be a cheaper update solution.
Sure. So tablet workforce is something that Aerotech really wants to implement moving forward. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Especially in China.
Now, you mentioned that when I met with Kyle, he mentioned that most of the employees already have a smartphone. Do they also have tablets?
I feel like everybody has a smartphone, right?
Everybody has a smartphone for the most part.
Now, are you talking about in America or in China? Like, where are you talking?
In all aspects of the field. I'd actually like to get an answer for both. In Beijing, are they using? How many of your employees currently have a tablet, or are they only using smartphones at the moment?
Well, right now, most of them are using tablets. China is they all have their own tablets. Now, they aren't using any of our information on that tablet, but like their employees have tablets. And in America, we'd be more than willing to update their systems, like update from a computer to a tablet. I mean, if everything that you can do on a laptop can be done on a tablet, that's a cheaper updating solution. So, regardless if they have it or not in America, we'd be willing to cover that cost. But in China, that's what they have. So.
Okay. And when was the last time you gave those products that you're using, the computers and the tablets, a refresh in the cycle?
Oh, well, when you say refresh, well, we're updating every month.
You're updating every month.
Yeah, we update our computers every month. It's also a way to keep track and make sure that none of our machines are compromised.
That's smart.
Really smart. Our customers our employees think it's a 24-hour update, but we're also keeping track of our information. I mean, right now those are our secure links. So at that rate, that's really what the only refreshing that we do. But if you're talking about new devices, I mean, they're not new.
Yeah. So let's talk about the updating that you're currently doing. Mm-hmm. It sounds like, what you mentioned, your workers think it's like a 24-hour around the day updating. Yeah. How does that make them feel when they come to work and have to experience these issues?
Well, it's frustrating. I mean, they're losing at least 5% production. I mean, you're talking about a day every month, right? So that is the kind of revenue that comes from that alone, just from solving this problem, is likely to pay for itself.
Yeah. And so with this 500 drop production, that's only in commission, correct?
5%.
5%. So
that's a 5% drop in production.
And 5% drop in production.
It's a day that they can't work.
Sure. And how much would you say the average office makes in revenue in a given month?
Oh, I mean, these numbers what it's holding our company back from is hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on the scale. And like I said, it's the kind of thing that would likely pay for the update if it could be solved.
Yeah, it completely makes sense. And how many employees are you looking to implement in this new Beijing office?
Oh, well, so solar has a new initiative in China. It's blowing up. All right, the Mongolian plains. I'm not sure if you've been there, but they're huge.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a scalable project. It's putting numbers to it now. Is pretty hasty, but they're large. This is a big opportunity. There's a reason everybody in the company is kind of following it. So that is my priority. Absolutely, it's a massive growth potential. It's massive.
Well, I'm really happy to know that Aerotech is being able to scale up in China. It sounds like there's a lot of big plans, and with this going forward, Aerotech is going to increase and double their size in this China expansion. It sounds like it's going to be a big project, and I'd definitely love to have Citrix Zen Desktop be part of that integrated force moving forward with the project. Now, just to clarify some of the things we've talked about, just to give you a quick summary. Today we've talked about the mobility aspect. You said your workers are being limited to just strictly not being able to access things from outside the office, but you also don't want to take your computers to China because of it's really expensive and you're limited to some resources budgetarily.
We don't allow them to. It's
you don't
a
allow
security
it. Yeah, just a security issue. You also mentioned that China is currently going to a tablet workforce, and most of the employees over there already have a smartphone.
I wouldn't say they're going to a tablet workforce. I'm just saying everyone has a tablet.
Everybody has tablets, so it's a tablet workforce.
Yeah.
Exactly. And last but not least, you mentioned that security is a major concern for you. It's top of mind when you're dealing with the China expansion.
It's the concern.
It's the concern. Okay. And if there was a way is there anything else that I might have missed in that?
I can't imagine. No. I mean, you hit my points right. Pretty much. Yeah. That's what we're looking for.
So if there was a way that I could show you a product that would increase your mobility, enhance your security, give you almost a nearly bulletproof system in terms of security, while allowing that workforce to remain mobile on their tablets and on their smartphones, what would you say to a product like that?
I'm listening.
Great. And I think I have some great news for you, is because I'm not only going to tell you, but I'm going to show you how we're going to be able to do this. And the product and solution I have recommended for you, and the same one I recommended to Cal, is our Citrix Zen Desktop.
Awesome.
Now, it's a virtual desktop infrastructure. Are you familiar with that term?
I am.
Okay, so then with the Citrix...
Kyle updated me.
Kyle updated you. So you understand the many benefits of it. You can access your content from anywhere, at any time, on any device, securely, which is one of your main concerns. Now, Citrix, we've been the market leader for the past 25 years. And you mentioned you want a company that has tremendous size, but is able to handle all these major operations moving forward. Well, I'll be happy to let you know that we are currently founded in 9 of the major Fortune 900, Fortune 100 companies in China right now.
So you work in China already. That's
exactly.
Awesome.
So we're already partnered with them. And many of the issues you're currently facing, they faced previously. And once we've integrated Citrix into their company, they've experienced 0 of the same issues once again.
Awesome. So I noticed VMware here is like 27% is its market share.
Yes, sir.
I can't remember where I read it, but I remember reading something about VMware suing Citrix. Can you speak to that a little bit? Do you know anything about that?
As far as I'm concerned, I haven't heard anything recently. I will make sure to double check on that. Is there anything you might have recollected from moving forward with that?
Yeah, I thought it. I remember it. I'm trying to remember where I read it, but it's something about copyright issues, something about I'm assuming it's the desktop software. I asked because I just don't want to implement a program that might lose in court and then somehow jeopardize the system that we're using. But once again, I can't remember where. I could be wrong, so I don't want to hold you to that or anything. I'll look into if you can look into that a little bit. That'd be great.
That is a valid concern, and one of the things about Citrix is we actually created this industry and this market. So 25 years ago, we implemented virtual desktop infrastructure before it was even called that. So in terms of copyright,
you've been doing this for 25 years.
I've been doing this for 25 years, yes, sir. Not myself, the company.
No, obviously, yeah, obviously. So okay, and like I said, my mind is jarred. I usually remember these things, so I could be wrong there. But let's not get hung up on that. Okay.
I'll look at that and I'll make sure to follow up with that after today's meeting.
Please, I appreciate it.
Now, you also mentioned that security is of amazing importance to you. It's actually the top of mind concern. And so with Citrix Zen Desktop, we're able to eliminate those security concerns of yours because we offer multiple layers of protection. It's my understanding that China has multiple factors in the 2-step verification in the way they operate their systems. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yes.
Great. So if you'd like, I can show you a quick demonstration of how we have a 2-step verification.
Please.
So you mentioned most of your employees already have a smartphone themselves. Okay. So the same way they would download, let's say Netflix, Facebook, or Instagram, they would download our Citrix Receiver app. Do me a favor and tap on that app. Great. Now, what are your initial thoughts when you look at this first screen?
Well, it's organized. I mean, it's obvious that there's folders that you can organize information within.
Exactly correct.
I see Windows Desktop there.
That's right, and we do operate on Windows 10. In fact, Citrix is the only company of all the ones in this industry that are fully integrated with Windows 10. So you don't have to pay additional. It already comes equipped with Citrix Desktop.
Awesome.
Okay.
And if I have computers that aren't capable of Windows 10,
can you elaborate a little bit more?
well,
on that?
our computers, they can't run Windows 10. They're older computers, but the fact that you can run this on an iPhone, are you saying that like this can run on an older laptop?
It can. And so whether you're using a thin client or a fat client, you can repurpose all of your old devices to be able to operate and just use the bare minimum that they need to make sure this is working effectively.
Okay.
Now the benefit to you moving forward with this is that you already mentioned that China's already on the tablet workforce and they're already using smartphones. So in terms of having to get them new devices and spend a large budget on allocating devices towards China, you don't have to do any of that. Have them download the application and sign right in.
Awesome.
And I'm going to show you that two-step verification right now. So do me a favor and tap on Windows Desktop. Now when you tap on that, we're going to start loading and we're going to access our server. Now the way I like to explain Citrix Desktop is like Netflix. Are you familiar with Netflix?
Absolutely.
So when you log into Netflix, you're tapping into the servers. None of the movies are being downloaded onto your device. So even if you log out, you don't have those movies on your device. It's the same way that works with Citrix Zen Desktop. In fact, you just replace the movies with your work files and content and you're good to go. And this is what your desktop is going to look like.
All
From
right.
the get-go. Do you think that's pretty easy to use?
It looks like Windows.
It looks exactly like your work.
Is this Windows?
This is Windows, yes sir.
All right.
And now I'm sure your work computer looks like this, just has a cooler background. I'm sure.
If you saw the icons I had on my homepage.
Oh man.
No, this is a much cleaner desktop.
And you can fully upgrade this and optimize it to however you want. So your employees
Awesome.
will have that flexibility to make their home screen look how they please.
Okay.
Now, moving forward, you also mentioned that you're tired of updating the computers and it's creating so much frustration.
Yes.
At Citrix, we believe that coming to work should be something you're so passionate about and happy that you shouldn't have to worry about those minor details.
Mm-hmm.
So what we've done is that we've allowed your IT department to handle those upgrades when all the employees are off the clock. When everybody leaves the office, have them update the system. It takes less than 20 minutes. When you log back in, you don't have to worry about anything. You're already on the latest version because you're contacting that server that already has it.
Awesome.
How does that make you feel? Do you see how that
It
can be
really
a
does.
benefit?
It sounds great. I like the fact that updates are automatic.
It is, and it's one of the major benefits of working with Citrix. Now, based off everything we've talked about today, I definitely see how this can make your job a lot easier and it can make your employees much happier while reducing that frustration and enhancing your security, which is the top of mind concern for you moving forward. So how do you feel about making that next meeting move forward with CEO Tom Kelly?
So I have a concern only with some of your partners, right?
Sure, go ahead.
Fact that you have 99% of top 5 Fortune 500 companies as employee or as customers, it's likely that you will have our competitors as your clients as well. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Like you have other staffing companies?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
So what are the chances of someone like myself, gaining access to other, proprietary information for staffing competition? Like, am I going to have to worry about that, or is that an opportunity that I should think about? Like, how can you speak to that a bit?
So it sounds like your main concern is being able to access, or competitors being able to access your information and vice versa.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that is another valid concern of yours, and one of the things we pride ourselves at Citrix is security. We believe that every company should be able to operate without the need to feel like somebody's looking over their shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, we make sure that no other company is able to access your information, which is why we implement that two-step verification, why we have that customer support team guarding your files at all times of the day, 24 days a week, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
So it's not likely that information will be hacked.
It's impossible unless you physically give somebody access to your files, which I'm sure you would never do.
Well, that's unfortunate, but good. I like it. But I would have liked that information.
Yeah.
You're a good guy. I appreciate that. No, it's
Yeah,
good to
well,
hear.
We like to be loyal to our customers.
Well, that's good. That's good. From here, what I'll do, to answer your question brought up, I'll talk to Tom,
Sure.
and what we'll do is coordinate with you, give you a call, and organize a date that we can organize this meeting with him to fill in Tom.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write up these notes. I'm going to send you an email with the summary of the notes from today's meeting. I'm also going to leave you with my packet of information should you want to look at some things while I'm gone. And last but not least, I want to get a date just tentatively on our schedule. So does next Monday or Wednesday work best for you and Tom Kelly?
Well, I've got to speak to Tom, honestly. I mean,
if
any date that I'd be giving you would be throwing darts in the dark.
Sure.
I have no idea.
But just so we have something set in place, just if he happens to be here on Wednesday, let's say at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'll make sure to follow up on Tuesday just to make sure it can happen.
All right, Wednesday at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Wednesday at 10. Is there anything else I should bring to that meeting with Tom?
Lunch. Yeah.
Lunch. What does he like to eat?
Yo, Tom is he loves Italian subs. All right.
Yeah?
But cut it in half.
Cut it
and
in
mayo only on one half. He's on
Yeah.
a diet and he's got a weird.
So no
weird
no
method.
mozzarella on the top.
Honestly, it's just mayo. Like I said, it's a
Just
weird
mayo?
approach. It's a weird
Weird
approach.
approach, hey.
Right? He's scaling back a little at a time. Right.
Okay,
It's
baby steps. That's what I'm talking about. It's baby steps.
No.
Well, Bri, I think Tom is going to be so happy you're bringing this to his attention. I don't see why this is not going to be a great solution. I think you're really going to benefit from this a lot. You have a great day.